Welcome to the show, everyone. I cannot believe it's September already. We've been talking about that in the station right here. We are talking about ourselves, and that's what we do right here on the radio with everybody else out there. And we are live on Facebook, so I want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us, follow us. We are going to be sharing this show afterwards, and everybody loves those. I don't know what it is right now, but everybody seems to love those, so we'll be doing that later on after the show. My first guest has been on with me several times now. I have with me Dorris Milton, and she's a PhD RN, but she's also the founder and owner of Healthcare Career Growth. Now, you got to tell everybody a little bit about, you're a growth coach, and you got to tell everybody a little bit about what you do, because it's a special niche. Okay? And I want you to talk about that. Welcome back.
Sure. Nice to be back, Carol. I guess the reason I love being here with you is that...
It's me.
Of course. And it's me.
Exactly.
And we all love talking about ourselves and what we do.
Right.
And I've especially had a dream career in nursing and healthcare. And this month it will be 52 years that
Wow.
I've been in nursing and healthcare. And I want that kind of a dream career for others. And I've been a direct care nurse. I've been a director of research and education. I've been in healthcare systems. I've been in universities, faculty positions, online, in person. I've been a dean. I mean, I've done a lot of different things. I've written books. I've written lots of articles. I've been a professional speaker. So I know the gamut of all the different options that are available to people. And yet when I talk with many healthcare professionals, it's like they feel stuck where they are. You know, it's not that they hate what they're doing; it just doesn't excite them anymore, or they think somewhere in the back of their mind there might be some other way that they could be contributing. Still stay in healthcare, but they want to contribute either in a different role, a different position. Some want to be partially self-employed. Some want to remain fully employed, but they want something different to do. And I love encouraging them to do that, because once they're in something that excites them, they wind up being able to contribute more. It's not just that they're more satisfied, but it's better for our healthcare system.
Oh, of course. Now, what I like what you do is you help people find their way. Because sometimes people don't know, something that they've been doing for years, like any other business, could they not also be doing it anymore, right? And then they find themselves, maybe they're out of a job, or maybe what they do just doesn't exist anymore, or they have to change a different field or what have you. But what you do is you help them find their way.
Yes, and then develop a detailed plan so they can have their way. And I'm very often heard saying hope is not a good career strategy.
Right.
And so what happens to a lot of people in healthcare is they're working very long, hard hours. I mean, long days. And they come home, and like the rest of us, they're very tired, but there's still laundry, groceries, there's a lot of different things. And I feel myself many days like I feel like I just got up and I've been going, and now look at the clock and it's time to go to bed. So unless you have somebody to partner with to take you through a process so you do have a plan, I can't think of what my future might be like at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, even if I have 15 minutes. So what I do is partner with them to see where they would like to be. What would they like to be doing, say, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And as you referred to, sometimes they want to be doing what they're doing now 5 years from now. But when we talk about it, that position may not exist 5 years from now. And yet, if we think about it, there might be something that's clear that we're going to need 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And it takes that long to get prepared.
Now, I have to say that a lot of people listening to this segment, and I've said this to you before, I wish you did this for everybody, but, and you don't. I mean, you've got a niche because of your background.
Well, it's more than that, more than my background. It's, for example, one of the steps I take people through, and it's a 7-step process that I've been using for years, and it works, it gets results for people. One of the steps includes, for example, for a position they might want, they may need to publish in a professional journal. Well, in healthcare, I can guide them through that. If they're in another field, I really don't know if that's the ideal journal. For example, one thing I'll mention to people is the person who's going to hire you. What journals does that person respect and read? Because you can publish anywhere you want, but if that person doesn't respect that, or it's not a generally respected publication in your discipline, it's, I hate to say wasted, because nothing that we do is ever wasted, but it's not as effective, not as efficient as if you really had it outlined. This is what if I want to be doing X 5 years from now, these are the 2 types of articles I need to publish, or these are the conferences I need to speak at, not just I need to do more. You know, it's the specifics.
Now, you're going to be doing a giveaway that's a little different from the last time that you've been on, and that's 7 ways to sabotage your health care career and strategies to make it work.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because what I've learned with people is I take them through the process up to then, and they have a very detailed plan, and they implement a lot of that, and then I'll talk to them several years later, and they say, well, it didn't really work for me, and I talk to them about why, and it turns out they shot themselves in the foot. They did something that sabotaged the work they had done before. But if they can identify those behaviors or things they do ahead of time, like one I was well known for during my career, is alienating whoever was the formal or informal leader where I worked. You know, you wouldn't find out that this is the person who really is the decider behind the decider. You know, and so
I'm sure there's all sorts of those.
Yeah. So you make comments to that person, but you don't know that that's the person who's going to be really influencing the decision. Or I would do things like make comments about a program that was in place in a healthcare system and not find out till later that the person I complained to was the person whose idea it was and who generated. I mean, we all do things like that.
So what was the moral of that story?
Not to open mouth, insert foot.
Exactly.
But to be aware that you're doing, because sometimes we wouldn't do these things if we knew that we were doing them. And so I encourage people even to go through the list I have, ask other people, check it out with others, because sometimes others know what you're doing that you're not even aware that you're doing.
Now, your phone number for them to call you is 602-944-3292.
Right.
And, excuse me, your website is healthcarecareergrowth.com. And what we want to do you want them to call you? Do you want them to call here for that 7 steps?
Whichever is easier, but they can call me directly, or they can even send me an email asking for it.
Okay.
You know, because sometimes they have time late at night to send an email, but they don't have time to.
Here's the number. The number is 602-944-3292. You can also call in here. People tend to like to call into my station. And our number here is 602-277-5369. And toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. So of these different things, before we go to a break, what would you want to break with to kind of leave them with some kind of an idea of what you do for people?
Well, the main thing I guess I do for people is act as a sort of a partner with them. So they can have the career that they dream of, getting rid of all limitations. I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't know what to do, that I do know what to advise them what to do.
And your steps they're proven.
I've been using them for years, and they get results.
They get results, and so that's what you need with somebody like her that will do that for you. I'm going to tell you to write this number down now, because maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone that you know. A lot of people are in the healthcare industry, and she's going to help you. The number to call is 602-944-3292. The website is healthcarecareergrowth.com. Call in here and get this. It's 7 ways to sabotage your healthcare career and the ways to fix it. Turn it around. The number here is 602-277-5369.
If I traded it all.
Welcome back. We are talking with Dorris Milton, and she is the owner and founder of Healthcare Career Growth Coach. She's a growth coach, but she's also for just healthcare industry. You want people to understand that. And I love when you talk, because you're very soothing, because a lot of people when they come to you, they're stressed out. They're either tired of what they're doing, in their field. They want to learn how to move up into their field or whatever. They're looking for a change. Go ahead.
There's all sorts of circumstances where people get referred to me. Some people have just heard that I've helped people for years, and I've done workshops on it. And other people all of a sudden find out they're being reorganized out of their position, and they really don't know what to do. And then I get referrals from people who say, I'm having a friend of mine call because she's kind of discouraged right now, or he feels kind of stuck. And I think that in many ways, those are the more fortunate people, because what happens to people is they get, in many cases, very comfortable with what they're doing, and they don't stop and think that this position might not exist 5 years from now. So if you don't think about that, well, the qualifications might change. You know, the educational requirements are increased, certifications that are needed, all different things might change, and you can't just make a decision on Friday and change to something different on Monday. It may take 3 years, 5 years, sometimes longer,
now,
depending on the field. Yeah.
When you work with people, tell them how you do it and how your 7 steps are proven. They work every single time. So tell them how that does, how you do it.
Well, I've learned over the years, because people kept on sending me people and like, maybe you've done all these things, you can help them figure out what to do. And so I've learned to help them get rid of the limitations that are in their head of, like, if money were no object, if time were no object, if energy was no object, what would you like to be doing 3 years or 5 years from now? And I find that many people can identify that, but they put limitations. Well, I really can't do that because I would need to go back to school. Well, there are different ways of returning to school these days, or some people don't even need to do that. I'm getting a lot of people lately in 2 categories. A bunch of people want to be employees, say 3 days a week, and self-employed a day or 2 a week. So they might want the job they're having. For example, a lot of nurses, physical therapists, a whole bunch of different disciplines are working 3/12s. They call 3 12-hour shifts. And so they have several days each week that they want to be doing something. So they might want to do their own workshops. They might want to do consulting. Okay. Some of them also decide that there's really a position that is needed in the healthcare system where they work, or in the university where they work, but it doesn't exist yet. And I've had several examples of when I've created my own position, so I know what to tell them they would need to have in place in order to do that. The other group, interestingly enough, I'm getting are people in healthcare who are, in quotes, getting ready for retirement. Okay? But they don't really want to retire. They want to sort of get away from what they have been doing for many, many years, but they want to take the knowledge and skills and all of that stuff that's in experience that's in their head and use it some way, but they don't want a 60-hour-a-week job anymore. And so we sift through that and figure out what might be the ideal thing for them to aim for.
Now, the 7 ways to sabotage your healthcare careers and strategies to turn that around. That's what she's going to offer everybody. Our lines are open here. You can call throughout the rest of the show for it. And if maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone that you know. That's what I like about the show. It's never know who it's going to be. So the number to call here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And you can help anyone from anywhere, right?
Oh, yeah. I have several clients who are out of state.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that they're local.
And what I say is people need to take this information. It's information. Write these number down. If you have somebody that you live with, know, or whatever, in this healthcare industry, in the healthcare industry, in any capacity, write the number down because they may need it. Just having the conversation with you, that's what it starts. It may not be right now, and that's okay. And that's what it's all about. So you can call her direct. The number is 602-944-3292. Her website is healthcarecareergrowth.com. healthcarefield.com. And the number here is 602-277-5369. And toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I know it's Friday, and not a lot of people want to really think about this because they're saying, oh, I'm just going to go have a nice weekend. But you got to think about it. It's important.
Sometimes they don't want to think about it because they don't have anybody who they can think about it with. Either the people that they know are very willing to help them, but they don't have the ability to help them. Or what's going on in a lot of places is a lack of trust, quite frankly, realistically. If you're a pharmacist...
Yeah, you can't ask your boss what you're going to do in the next...
No,
you can't do that.
I had one instance with someone who was a pharmacist, but she really wanted to be a faculty member 3 years from then. She didn't want to be in the healthcare system anymore. And so she really couldn't go to anybody at work and say, do you have any advice for me about how I might do this? Because then she wouldn't get any promotion. She wouldn't get appointed to any committees.
She'd get fired.
Well, not necessarily fired, but why would the organization invest in a person who they know is going to be leaving?
You mentioned something, to me. You just said it was a pharmacist.
Yeah.
So here you go. I want them to get ideas because in the healthcare field, you're thinking doctors, nurses.
Wherever there are people, but pharmacists, physical therapists, I've worked with, just the whole gamut of anybody who works in healthcare understands that the qualifications change over time. They also know that if they're not careful, they get appointed to different committees or to do different projects at work that are important and in many cases urgent, but they're not necessarily the things that are going to help them be seen as the logical choice. Like for me, for example, if somebody is looking for help in growing their healthcare career, I'm really the logical choice for people since I've been in it so long and I've done so many different things in it. But when they work on projects that are not helping them get to be seen as the logical choice or the ideal candidate in what they want to do, it's not that they're wasting their time, but they describe it to me as they feel like they're spinning their wheels. They're working very hard, but it's not helping them get to where they want to be.
I'm telling you don't have to be in the healthcare field to feel that way. But in all honesty,
it's true.
I feel that when you are in the healthcare field, it is a very, very strenuous job. People thank you for everybody for doing it, obviously, but that it does stress you out. It does get crazy.
Well, it can also be very emotionally draining. Like people say to me, could you ever do direct care now? And physically, I probably still could. Emotionally, sometimes it gets harder. As I was in my early 20s and working in intensive care units and emergency room, when somebody came in as a patient, I wasn't thinking of all the things that I would think about now. At my early 20s, I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have different responsibilities. So there are all these
that's
different...
what age does.
Yeah, that's what... I can give lessons in that. No, and it's true. And sometimes people can find a specific area no longer fulfilling for them or not as satisfying. But a lot of what they learned over those years can be transferred to another area.
Now, real quickly, tell them again your 7 steps that are proven steps that work. They work every single time with you. Go ahead and tell them for anyone that didn't hear.
Well, I take people through a 7-step process that begins with the foundation, and that's figuring out what you see yourself doing. What's your dream 3, 5, or 7, 10 years from now? And then we work our way through that. What are the qualifications going to be? Not what are they now, but investigation of what are the qualifications going to be? Which of those do you have? Which of those do you not have? And a lot of them are what we call soft skills. Maybe people in whatever they want to do would have to be a better listener. Okay? Where are the resources? How much time is this going to take? Laying it all out. And then figuring out what things that all of us do, and each of us have different ones, things we do to sabotage our career. So we can go through all of that, getting certifications and education, experience, publications, presentations, and then wonder why it's not helping us because we're doing certain things to sabotage. And so there are different strategies you can use so you don't use those.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to give away those 7 ways to sabotage your healthcare career, and she's got the 7 or more ways that's
I
going to
got
turn
lots.
that around completely.
And it's no secret of how I came up with the 7. I didn't have any trouble coming up with the list because I think I've done practically every one of them on the list.
I bet you everybody has in some way or
Yes,
another.
we all do, and we're just not aware that that's what we're doing.
So
But
our number here, you can call in here, is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Yeah, she's talking the career area, the healthcare career area, and that is what her niche is. You can call her direct at 602-944-3292. It's healthcarecareergrowth.com.